When looking for your favorite tools and supplies for your next flooring job, we have the absolute best place to shop online. Head on over to shagtools.com, the pro's choice for everything from cutters, adhesives, knee pads, shower systems, and more. Shag Tools carries all the premium brands you know and trust. In stock with fast shipping to either you or your job site. And right now, our new customers are going to receive 10% off their initial purchase using the code HUDDLE10. That's right, HUDDLE10 at shagtools.com.
What is up? That's new to me right there. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Huddle, your weekly playbook helping you gain forward progress in your career. Simply put, we're here to help you win. All right, that was exhilarating to kind of hit the buttons on the back end of this show. I had no idea what to click, but we got through it. And Daniel is mobile. Ashlyn is off today. And we got a staple of the Huddle in Espanol. Jorge, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, my peeps?
You know, doing that thing. Just keep on selling floors and trying to keep the wheels on the bus. Daniel's out picking stuff up from supply houses. Jose's over here texting his
sharing on the socials.
Oh. All right. Well, what's going on today, fellas? Anything
I'm gonna make sure
noteworthy?
that they know what's going on real quick.
Okay.
Nothing much going on, brother, besides being busy and trying to make and find that time that's been elusive this summer.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I do want to let everybody know that today's episode is sponsored by Divergent Adhesives. Divergent, Sunny over there is awesome supporter of the show, has great product line. We'll have a more substantial full information on Divergent Adhesives for you in the next episode. But wanted to mention them, thank them for sponsoring this episode, and continue being, just advocates of the industry, both through the NAFCT as well as the Divergent brand. So if you guys haven't seen his logo, it's a gentleman diver.
Senor Divergent.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I might have one handy.
When you got the Divergent.
I would like to see him in a Simpsons kind of cartoonish one also, just to see what he looks like.
I just want him to come just like that.
Go.
Like Scuba
Steve.
Go.
I mean, I told him,
Scuba Steve. Have you seen Big Daddy?
Good guy though.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Scuba Steve.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he needs to carry that outfit like in a briefcase with him at all times.
Know, right? Quick change.
In that same briefcase that's on the sticker.
That would be epic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank everyone. We are trying to get all of the technology up and running. I think we are pretty close. And so I think we're live on all the streams. If not,
I'm using my tablet for the first time, so I don't know how to navigate it without messing something up.
Well, today's episode, today's topic is, can you afford a rebrand? When and how to refresh your image? I'm going to switch that up. It's already on all the written stuff, but can you afford a rebrand is maybe not the right way we should have put that. It's is it time for a rebrand, and how to know when it's time to refresh your image? Because frankly, if you are in dire need of a rebrand, money is about the third thing you should consider, second or third, not the very first, because I've done this. I've rebranded both my flooring company, and we are in the middle of a rebrand with Go Carrera into Trade Tap. and that's launching soon. And so I've got some, intimate experience with this particular topic. Although I am no rebranding professional, I will tell you that now. I try my best, and would love to, anybody on the podcast here that's been through it and feels like they've been successful on a rebrand, chime in. So,
for some of the listeners, what is a rebrand, right? Like maybe some people don't understand what that might be or why anyone would ever think about doing it anyway. We went through it.
That's a great, let me just, I'm going to interrupt you on accident, but on purpose. You got to have a brand to rebrand. So this also could be, is it time to launch a brand? Realize that as an installer, you are a brand. We went through this pretty deep last week, that if you are a installer out there, you are a brand. You are your brand, your attitude, your quality, your vehicle, the way you carry yourself, everything is your brand. So it may be time to actually launch a brand, which we could talk about. And I'm so glad you said that, Jose, because that might kick us off on a better foot. So, launching a brand, and or like you said, I'll leave it back to you to explain what a rebrand is, just to get us all on the same page.
Well,
I'm barely going through that, so I'm gonna start branding. Sorry to
go
interrupt
ahead.
you.
Well, how about you start, bro? Go.
So I'm gonna start branding myself. Yeah, but no, that's the only thing I was gonna say. I'm gonna start branding myself out. So I'm starting in that boat now. Trying to catch up with everybody else. So yeah, it's gonna be good to hear what Jose has to say about what he was gonna say right now about branding,
So
rebranding.
I'm
What is
gonna
rebranding, right?
take a page out of Paul's book and say, hey, I'm not a professional. I'm not going to pretend to be. I'm going to say and do some things that aren't necessarily correct in everyone's eyes. But when we started Preferred Flooring, I think we accidentally created what is going to be our brand, but we wanted an identifier, right? We wanted something that was going to separate us from the other installation outfits at the time. That was noticeably different. So when we created Preferred Flooring, the name was because people preferred to have Daniel or I on the project. And then with a little bit of help from my cousin, who was really big into graphic art back then, he helped us manipulate a font, got our Preferred Flooring logo started with Saturn in the background, and that was the beginning of it. Not saying the picture and the graphics were our brand, right? But because the brand doesn't mean anything unless you put something behind it, and vice versa. And we just wanted to be recognizable. I chose colors that were not overbearing, but soft enough to be attractive to most. There was a lot of intent behind it.
When you started doing your brand, you do the research and R&D on colors and font sizes and all that?
I did not. However, I did. I played a lot of softball, right? I played, and I did a lot of designs for jerseys and uniforms, and listening to people speak about certain colors that were power colors, that were overbearing, and what some colors meant. And when we went with the royal blue and the white, it was because it wasn't overbearing on the eyes. It wasn't saying I must be the boss. It was assertive yet soft enough to appeal to everyone. And as far as what the colors meant and all that, no way, dude. I didn't even know any of that, like any of that
Existed.
knowledge. Yeah, I had no idea. A lot of it was looking at some of the popular brands that were out there that might have been around for a long time. Like what was their color scheme? What made them stick around a long time? And at the time, I didn't know about branding, but why has their logo and everything been able to remain the same and them still continue to grow. Right. I was just looking at stuff like that. I didn't want sharp corners on the letters. I didn't like, I had a vision, but that was about it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of like thought that a brand is a logo, and you touched on this earlier, Jose. Your brand is you. It is your company. It is your service. Your logo. Now, we developed our first logo was just me scribbling, and like I did it just, hey, what would look cool? How would this look good? And can I intertwine the S and the A so that it made it seem like working together? That was about as much thought as went into it. We went through a rebrand. This is our newer mark, as they call it in branding, logo, as it's also known. But the colors and all of that stuff, we did a deep dive on colors, font, what all that is. But what was interesting is going through that, really, it forced me, the people we were working with wanted to know about our company. What do we really stand for? What are our key differentiators that you talked about? How do we perceive ourselves in the marketplace? How do we want to be perceived in the marketplace? All these questions and back and forth conversation just to come up with that, which it's pretty awesome. But like that, all that, your logo is supposed to speak to your brand and not be your brand.
Right.
Now, I'm just giving you information that I learned by paying a fair amount of money to figure it out, and someone else to do it for me. And we're going through that again with TradeTap and Go Carrero be TradeTap here in the near future. It really already is. It's just we haven't gotten all of the assets in place to be able to, flip the switch. But Doyle says here, before you develop your brand, make sure your personal toolbox is up to date, like certifications. That's what I'm talking about. Like, who are you? What are you? And Jorge, you said earlier, you were like, trying to catch up. Dude, you're going to be, anytime somebody really invests in their personal brand, and their business brand, like you're one of the 5%. A lot of people don't brand. They put a logo on their hat, and that's their brand. What you want is somebody to look at your logo and feel a certain way about you, associate that logo to you and feel a certain way. So many of us do what I did. I did it twice, actually.
We did too.
Put some stuff on paper. My very first company was Stewart and Goslin Contract Flooring. Me and a guy named Steve Goslin started it, and we just put some stuff together. I mean, it was black and gray were our colors. I mean, like, if I wanted to be a 1930s cartoon, I was good. Black and gray, or black and kind of a really light gray anyway. But you want your logo to make somebody feel and perceive you in a certain way. And so I thought it was interesting when I went through the process of actually doing it, that the company and the professional wanted to know, like, what are you? Like, who are you? Who is your company? What is your company's DNA? And that could be a company of one or a company of 1 million. It's still the same question and answer. Who are you and what do you stand for? And then they will design some options, if they're good, design some options to give you, some different images, as well as font and color. All of it matters. And you end up with a few things, and then they want you to ask, how does this make you feel as Jorge, for example? If you got 3 or 4 or 5 different options, how does it make you feel when you look at them? And yeah, so anyway, that's my experience going through it. And I'm just sharing with you what I've
Yep.
going through this twice now, what I've been taught and trying to
I
get through the
will.
old thick skull. But
I want to add to that. You know, you made me realize that I didn't think about the practice I had in branding prior to preferred flooring, but you know, the first go at a flooring business really was just a partnership with a friend of mine, and we called it under your feet installation. Oh my God. Like it didn't last very long, right? There was some that's when we found out, you know, he had child support and they can kind of just take whatever they want out of your bank account, right? And then the next one, after I left home, I tried to start a J&M Flooring was the name of it, right? And because I tried to incorporate my mother to qualify for grants. So, you know, Jose and Maria, J&M Flooring. That only lasted a little bit before we went work back for other companies, but I guess I did have a little bit of practice. And obviously
yeah,
that practice kind of helped
well,
out
and it's pretty like it's fairly common that approach, you know, take your initials or use like Stewart and Associates. If I had it to do over, I probably would put more of an ambiguous name that has some meaning behind it, you know, that's not my name, but we're 20 plus years into the gig, and the name is a brand now, but
yeah.
it took a long time for that to happen in my area, my industry, in the commercial side. So a lot of people shorten and just call it Stewart, you know, or they'll shorten and say S&A. But at the end of the day, it is a brand now, but man, that took some time. So, you know, like if you look at some of the Acme brick or, you know, these types of things or shag tools, it's not somebody's name. So I'm not saying that's wrong. There's plenty of examples. In fact, I was going to call it Paul Stewart, but there's actually a really high-end clothing line called Paul Stewart. And so couldn't get that .com. And so there's some really like great examples particularly in fashion where they use their name, or in the manufacturing. But in the service industry, just consider whether or not your name is the best thing to use is my only advice. I'm not saying it is or it is not. I'm just saying consider other options and think about it a little bit. Put a little bit of thought into whether or not you should do that. You can also do something really clever like Dave Garden, and his company's name was Carpet Garden. That's that's not bad at all there, Dave. And that was in 98.
Yeah.
So I thought I just read that in the comments.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Carpet Garden. That's like taking it, like he's a florist, isn't he? Like he could be a florist, kind of like how Nate does his florist thing. But
Yeah.
hey, I ain't gonna lie, I've been using ChatGPT for a lot of my stuff, man. And it's just, I want this on it, I want this, and I'll put pictures down, and I want this, and it's just doing exactly what I want. And I've got some where I'm like, okay, no, that's good. And this, as far as logos, and then other ones, I'm like, oh, I don't like that one, but I like this idea on it, and trying to
No.
incorporate it. I don't know. It's
So I'll
helped
give
me.
you a quick thing to do that I would just give some guidance on is everybody, at least on this podcast, knows Go Career. What do? We connect blue collar tradesmen with the people who need the work done, right? In some manner. Well, there's this type of service happens in the white collar kind of stuff too. So if you've never used Fiverr Fiverr, or Upwork, either one. You can find people who will design logos for you. I would use them more in like if you have a professional that you already work with, that's probably a good place to start, like a local company or something. But paying somebody $50 or $100 to look at your logos, tell them a bit about yourself, and then have them give you feedback, a third-party professional. We did that. I think it's a great thing to do.
They do it every day. They're gonna understand. Like as long as you can find the right terminology and the lingo lines up, they'll understand what you're looking for.
And I'm only suggesting that because of the rise of AI. The problem with that and is not that you're using AI. I use ChatGPT like a lot. I use it in a very
He's using it
specific
right now.
way. Yeah, this is not really Paul Stewart. This is my AI bot. No, he wouldn't mess up as much as I do. No, the problem though is you can get like even writing or getting content for different things. I can identify whether or not it's AI generated. Now they have these AI generated AI analytics to tell you how much of an article was written in AI or whatever. The AI does things in a very specific manner. It's not near as smart or creative, I should say. It's way smarter than us, but it doesn't have the creativity we have. It only grabs other things and then puts it together. So if you take that and then get somebody on Fiverr or something like that, I would, in today's world, ask for a non-AI opinion. Like you don't want somebody else using AI because you're using AI. But if you kind of first get the train rolling and you get a few options, then getting somebody else to like tweak it or just put little human touches into it, because your brand is for other humans, right? It's not for another AI. And this is how we kind of look at things when we're doing, whether it's a mark for a new shirt or a hat or a logo or whatever. So,
I see. Can you give me my water? It's in the back room.
Bam. Oh, that would have been sweet. If you just grabbed one.
If he got his water right when I handed that would have been.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that on an episode.
That takes more coordination.
Yeah.
Man. So yeah.
I'm so
But
thirsty
anyway,
right
that's
now.
just a little bit of like stuff that I've been through and went through that you might look at. Again, it's Fiverr.com and Upwork. Both of those can help you out if you want to.
And if you're somewhat
Fiverr.com,
creative,
Upwork, okay.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm a little old school, right? Like all my logos, all the art we put on the vans, like every shirt that I've designed, I drew out in hand, brother. Like I can't.
See, that does not surprise me one bit. When I came to
Dude.
your office at one time and you were on the computer, like just putting, hey, you like this background or that background? Yeah, you're a creative guy. I'm not.
I don't know how to use everything.
You used to tag everywhere. The S.
I don't know how to use technology like that. The money S. I'm not the best with it, but I know how to do it and manipulate it just enough to for someone to understand my vision. But then, like the gentleman that I work with, who does like all of our garments and all that, he's got the right programs to finish the vision. So and he's recently rebranded, as a matter of fact, from CSN to Notorious brand. So he just recently went through a rebranding. Now that I'm thinking about it, we're talking about it, that I know that was a big deal for him, and he did it. And I don't know where he sits, but I know a lot of clients followed him, right? It doesn't matter. If you're rebranding, they're rebranding with you. It's just a name.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just the name of the business. It's not who you are. That's what we talked about earlier. I follow him because of him. I don't care what he names his company. I follow him because of him.
Yeah, and I mean, take what I'm saying just from a pure I've been through it a few times, but go through it yourself. I think what I'd like to make sure is that when you do this, especially if this is your first time, I would suggest going through it with a little bit of uh, intention as opposed to the way I went about it. I honestly, when I was like, yeah, that looks good. Make it gray and black. That was it, And then the next time when I bought my partner out in '03 and started Stewart and Associates, I did just a version of the first one. I was like, okay, it was S and G. Let's make it S and A and stick them together where they're close, where they're intertwined. That'll make everybody say we work together. I don't know if that's true or not. I just came up with that, and then I drew it up and had a person actually draw it for like the logos and the shirts and stuff.
We lost Daniel.
Yeah, he was inside for a while anyway. He may have to rejoin.
Yeah,
but
fine.
I just scratched it off. So I got to give you kudos, Jorge, for just kind of going through a more intent process than just the way I did it, dude. If you ask
me to draw it, I mean, I'm horrible at drawing stuff. It'll be like stick figures. So have you ever seen a dog in a stick figure form? That's probably the way I draw it, like a little stick figure dog. So just for me, it's more creative than I am.
Yeah.
You gotta do it like they do that on the tutorials when they say,
you gotta hire creativity.
Rectangle. Yeah, there's some creative people out there, man.
Yep.
When COVID hit and we went through our first official rebrand as Preferred Flooring, we did a lot. We got new vans. We put vinyl on them, did a design. We redid a lot of, I would say, external items, right? The visuals. We wanted to make sure that we were rebranding in a manner that would attract the clients that we wanted, right? Like now that we kind of, 10 years into it, we kind of knew where we wanted to go, what direction we were going. And
do you feel like you did that? Like, do you feel like you're hitting it pretty well from that aspect? Or does I love obviously the name. I think I remember you saying that the name came from people just saying you're our preferred guys, and you're like, well, shit, that's our name, Preferred Flooring.
Yeah.
So the name is like perfect. Your mark and your other stuff like that. How do you feel like that is a cohesive brand at this point after the time frame you just stated?
Me, because it's going to be a little biased, right? Because it's me, of course.
Sure. Yeah, we're all biased. I think my logo rocks, dude.
Yeah, I think the timing was perfect for the rebranding. I think that the new visuals that we offered as a company for everyone to recognize was perfect. It came at a time when things were not looking pretty good for the economy. But then we represented small companies in our area and said, you know what, we're not going to let this keep us down. Sometimes that we took a risk and simplified, shortened it up. We instead of putting full preferred flooring and everything, we just shortened it to the PF.
PF, yeah.
Because everybody already recognized the preferred
flooring. They're going to do that anyway.
It
seems like people just kind of natively do some of that stuff anyhow.
And we still have the full logo. We still keep the full logo on things, and where it makes sense, but trying to save real estate and letterheads and all that, where do you want to, I think we shortened it because Daniel was getting sick of using all the ink.
So let me ask you guys, start with you, Jorge. And again, thanks for being on here today, dude. I think it's going to give a really good example. You just said that you were starting to brand yourself. What kicked that off? Like, why have you decided that all of a sudden? I say all of a sudden, it could have been in the works for a while.
It has been in the works. Yeah, it's just taking the time finally to just do a little bit more work on it, and just separating yourself from the rest. And that's really where I'm at right now. Just trying to build a logo, a brand, separating myself from the rest. Sorry. That way it's, they know who I am, not just by my name. It's more by the logo and all that, by the brand.
So was it? Did anybody ask you like for card when you have your card? Is it just say Jorge on it, like your name
Yeah,
and phone
it just
number?
says my name, and
And you
I kind of
wanted
want
something
to do
associate
something,
yourself with.
yeah, something different, just something not associated with my name, but just with the brand itself.
So what? I guess I'm trying to dig out of you a little bit for those installers that are out there wanting to, that maybe they've never even thought of this. It's just James Johnson and I install flooring. Why should I do anything other than I'm the guy that's going to be installing your flooring? You know me, I'm good, and that's that. What made you go that next step to actually put a brand on it? What
Um,
drove you to do that?
Basically just what I'm doing now. I'm doing a lot of staircases. I'm doing a lot of surging and stuff like that. And I wanted to have a name associated with that. So I chose Escalon, which is escalon in Spanish, but in English it sounds like Escalon because that's the way people are going to say it. So
Mm-hmm.
I like the name.
I like it.
It's associated with my business.
Sounds high end.
Yeah, it
It
sounds
does.
high end, but then when in Spanish it means, it means a step. That's what it means. Escalon or escalones means steps or
Steps.
stairs. So I did that to associate it with what I do, and the next thing was just kind of building a logo for it. One thing that gives me a lot of business is pets. Pets tend to do a lot of, they pee on the carpets or rugs. They'll chew a corner of a rug or the staircase landing. So that gives me a lot of business, and I love dogs too. So most of the homes I go to,
I
they have
bet you do.
nice little dogs. So I put one thing that I love is my dog. I put my dog on my brand, like my logo,
Okay.
and then I put a rug underneath him, kind of like he's flying, like kind of like Aladdin, but not really. But I started incorporating like a bunch of other stuff with the Chat GPT stuff. So I was like, you know what? Can you do this? Can you do that? And it just started building it. It did the name in the font that I wanted perfectly. The first few times, it took me like 2-3 times. I wanted in this font and I wanted like this black and so forth. And it just started building what I wanted. And I mean, I've gone over 30 different types of logos and stuff to see what I kind of like. And I've shown some people that I work with, like, hey, what do you think of this? And they're like, oh my God, I like that dog. And so they associate themselves with that. So it's not really to please anybody else. It's to please my clients. So or the people I'm
Yeah,
going to
you know
get
what?
business from.
Great point. That's a great point. And I was gonna say something too, but I wanted to hear everything you had. The commercial and residential, right? Like, I think that commercial might not like contractors might not necessarily care what a logo looks like for a flooring company, but it does attract. It's got to be attracting to someone, and you want to attract the people you work with the most, right? That's most lucrative for you. So that, like, I'm getting all these visuals of like this puppy on a rug, just flying and like
when
holding
are you
on, looking
launching?
at.
Right. He's peeing on the rug. He's peeing on the rug.
when are you launching?
Kind of like that little dude that used to be in the.
On the
I
I'm
stickers,
said,
sorry.
when
Go
are you
ahead.
launching?
The stick.
peeing
I'm
on.
sorry. What was it again, Paul? One more time.
You guys go.
You know what you're talking about, right? Like the dude that's peeing and like looking
Yeah.
back at you, and they show him splashing on
Back
like
in the
Yeah.
day,
Ford, Chevy,
that little
Nike.
sticker everybody would put.
Oh man, we gotta bring
Yeah,
that back.
but except it's a dog. Yeah, we got to
Gotta
bring
bring
that
Well,
that
it
back.
back.
sounds like you might do it. No,
I'm
I
sorry,
was
Paul. Go
asking
ahead.
when you might launch that.
I wanted to launch this year, but I think everything's going through the process right now. So by next year, early next year, time, I should have new business cards and all that ready with
Sweet.
everything.
How about
Mhm.
you, Jose? I wanted to get your perspective from a guy that has a brand, like started with it. Like, have you went through a refresh ever in your time frame? And if you did, or when you did, what drove that? Since this is really about when to brand and when to rebrand, what drove that?
Well, like I said, it was during COVID. I think we were just ready for something different, right? Like our mindset and our business had went through another phase and a little bit of growth internally, and um, it just made sense for us to have to show that outward. We we have experienced very fortunate to experience some success, and when when we changed our mindset, we felt like the refresh, the rebrand should follow suit as well. It was a little bit behind us, but when everything got shut down over here, we had nothing to do, right? Except for work on what we currently had, which was our logos, our brand, our guys as far as education and learning. So we just kind of worked on the business as much as we can, and some of that had to like was ready for a refresh. We were ready for a refresh. It's just like you sometimes you gotta move your living room around a little bit just to make it feel like a different place, right?
Yeah.
Um, that's it. The office gets moved around, your desk gets moved around. Every time someone goes through a little bit of growth, something gets changed, right? They might go from long hair to short hair.
But like you said, a lot of these old brands have the same mark or something similar for forever.
You're right, they do. And if I can't pretend I understand why. I
Well,
don't know why.
I think they also refresh it a lot. They keep that same one, but they have other versions of it, or they have, they refresh it a little bit with some more modern colors. I've seen some of that, and they keep that same.
And you know what? You're right. Now that you say it like that, now I'm thinking of it. They might have like the same staple, right? Like it's this like on paper everything's the same, but they're so involved with so many other things that they are able to do a little refresh for marketing when they're working with nonprofits, when they're working with like a kids program. They're able to do slight little refreshes to kind of fill that void.
Something as simple as a mission statement or
Yep.
something like that, like just something
That's where a
new.
lot of people start.
That's kind of a
That's where a lot
refresh.
of people, in fact, a couple of branding like geniuses that I went to their seminar. If you're starting a business, don't even think about a logo. Don't think about a name. Start with your mission statement and core values, or what they call mission, vision, and values. Get that
Yep.
out long before you start drawing logos. We do logos as most people. We do this stuff because we think it's required. We're in a hurry to get something done that we can call our own. Is at least that's what drove me. If anybody can relate to that feeling of like just wanting this to say that's my company, even though it was just a company of two guys. At the time when I first created the my first logo, it's because you want to own. It's like that entrepreneurial bear
right.
inside of you wanted to own something. But yeah,
You want to conquer.
yeah, we want to conquer. But I'll tell you, Andy Frisella, he owns First Form in St. Louis, and it's a huge supplement company. They have their energy drinks and all over in all these different convenience stores, but he's an upper end supplement company. It's called First Form, and the dude's a beast. Like mentally, physically, the way he is kind of approaches life. I really like him. Well, I was in one of his business groups. In fact, I was in the first year of the business group him and another guy, Ed Milet, started, called Arate. That's where I first started getting like maybe some higher level coaching on branding and all of that. And that's where it comes from, is like, don't think about like, start with one of the things, side note, one of the things he's most passionate about is culture at his company. So he always thinks of, he's like, think about what you want your company to be in 5 years. That's the vision part. What do you really believe you're going to do in 5 years? Get that out on paper. What's your mission? What are you going to do? What's going to separate you from the competition that you see in the marketplace? And then your values is like, what do you stand for? What are your non-negotiables? Are you going to bend the rules on this, that, or the other? Or are you just straight shooter on these things? So once you get those done, now you have a brand identity. Now you can put a mark to it. That's really the way that the really good guys do it. I followed a little bit of that with TradeTap. I mean, we came up with the name after we have been through a bunch of the other stuff. And yeah, so mission, vision, values. If you're getting ready to rebrand or do a logo, know what your mission is. Know what your values are, your core values, what separates you. Andy is huge on core values and living by them. We have them. I don't know if you can see it up there. We have them all over our office, and it's been a big difference maker. Like even culture wise with your employees, having core values where it's like, hey man, you're not just trying to be Mr. Uptight. Look, core value number 7 says we prepare. We come prepared. We know that preparedness is a precursor to execution. And like the great executioners of old, if we miss our mark, bad things happen. So
what is that old saying is if you don't prepare for success, then prepare to fail. Something like
yeah,
that.
if you fail to plan, it's a plan to fail.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That's that saying. Yeah. So it's that kind of stuff. We have like one of our biggest one is hashtag 1440 minutes matter. We say all the time around here, you got 1440 minutes in your day.
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Every single one of them matter. Make sure that you make them matter at your job, so you're not here for more time than you need to be, and you can get home and spend it with those minutes that matter with your family and with doing the things you love to do. So it's not always about like just work. It's really about like trying to have a set of values and a set of guidelines for you and your people. And I wish I would have started this when I was a one-man show and I lived by them, because it would have been a lot easier to get people to follow me with them than 15 years after I started the company come out and say, guys, these are our core values. It took several times to get that right. So I guess that's really the idea behind branding, though, isn't it? We want people to know what they're getting with us. We want them to have a certain way that they feel about us when they see our name and our logo. So that's kind of how I've went about it.
You know, you said something too about you guys both did about the missions and mission statement and the core values. I will say that we did do all that, you know, and that is the branding starting within, and you know, like the brand is just an outward appearance of what we're trying to create. But you're right, you got to start it within, and then everything else will kind of fall into place. You know, the name, the logo doesn't mean anything if you don't have some kind of emotional attachment to it. And I think that's where ours all comes from. Is I do have like shameless plugs, and I'm one of those people where I'll go in the middle of a crowd. I don't really care what people think about me, as long as you know, I know that if I go into a crowd of 1,000 people and they don't know what preferred flooring is,
Someone's gonna.
by the time I leave there, and if one person remembers it, then success, right?
Yeah.
But there was a lot of the behind the scenes that went into creating the brand, and the brand does start within the company with But me and Daniel, or hey, your brand starts with you, brother. You know what I mean? And representation of your brand is what your clients say about you. Like all of that ties in together. Um, doesn't matter
Yep.
what it is, dude. You can have a dog on a rug. You can have a star on a pile of poop. It doesn't matter what it is, right? The brand is
Well, I think it does matter. I mean, at least a little bit that it matters to you is where it matters. It's got to matter to you and
yes.
mean
It's got to
something
matter
to
something, I
you
guess. Yeah.
that represents you. The the one of the cool things with what you're doing, Jorge, at this stage, if you do go to grow your business, people know who they're coming to work for. You know what I mean? It's harder to get that across if you don't have a brand, and that's one of the reasons, and like I said, Andy always recommended starting with some of those things, mission, vision, and values, and this stuff is because it starts to tell the story of Jorge. Speaking of brand, Daniel, what's up? He's
Hey,
back.
I made
What's
it.
up?
Sorry.
Did
Things
you
are
negotiate a
crazy.
better deal?
I was just picking up, but they're just so busy that no one knows where anything is.
Ah,
And you're like, I'll be right back, and then your phone just quit.
Well, dude, they got stuff stacked in the aisles. They have to move pallets, a whole aisle of pallets before they can get in anywhere.
That is an
So,
example of acquisition and then trying to create a brand out of everything, right? Like I know that they're still
well,
picking
that
up pieces from the merger, and yeah, go ahead, Daniel.
yeah, and they actually, I don't know if you guys talked about it already because I wasn't here, but using someone else's brand because they built it up so much, because that's what they did with Blakely when All Services bought them, right? And then now it's still Blakely. You can't get rid of a brand sometimes too. So is it worth it sometimes to even rebrand?
yeah. I mean, that's a open-ended question of like it's totally up to them. I think a lot of these companies that go and buy other companies are buying it for the brand that they created, and so you'll see, like, um, well, give you an example. Diversify, the flooring company that's like the largest, not every one of their locations is called Diversify. They kept most of them, they kept the brand that they bought, call it XYZ Flooring, and then just the only thing they added was just underneath the name, they put a Diversify company
Right.
because there was so much time that person and that company had built into their brand that to drop it and just say, okay, now we're diversified. That's what Shaw tried to do with Spectra, and that was a big problem when they did that. They went around buying flooring companies and completely switched the name out, and it didn't. So I think the in my view, there's a time when you should rebrand. There's certainly times you should leave things alone
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
and not
And
just.
we were talking about it a couple weeks ago too, or was that last week when we were bringing up
it's like red
Gen
hot.
Z?
We put that
When
shit on everything.
you're talking about Gen Z and they get loyal
Sorry.
to a brand based on what they stand for, and then when you change that, it's even if you're a new acquisition, right? You're acquiring this company. If you change that brand, people are more apt to be like, well, I don't stand for what this company stands for, so I'm just going to use someone else.
Yeah. Again, that's where that mission, those values come in as well. It's so important that people, at least in the retail world, it's pretty clear from that article from the Blue Collar Cruise last week that the Gen Zers really want to do business with people that share their values. Well, how do they know what your values are if you don't have your values, your mission, vision, and values kind of out there for all to see?
Right. They got to be front and center for everyone to actually know what you stand for, so they can be like, yep, that's a company I want to work with.
Do you
Yeah, and
guys?
especially when you were speaking about like companies that acquire other ones, it's like, are their missions the same? You know, because it's like another company buying a smaller company maybe, and it's like, do you share the same vision, the same values, and the same mission as what you bought, or you know, are you converting it into something else, or maybe that's a good time to change? Like, do you leave the same one, or do you change that stuff up?
It's
I
just
guess
those you see
go
people
ahead.
getting bought up by private equity all the time, right? And it's like everyone complains about the corporate structure of things. It's so corporate now, when before when you're small and you're family owned, it's like that's what you're based on. One of your values is family, right? That
Mhm.
being small, not having to answer things like you do in a corporate setting. And then once these acquisitions happen, it's, man, everything is so corporate. I can't just go grab this thing out of the back and be like, oh, you need this, here you go. And we've gone through it when we were labor only, and companies switching up their structure, and it's like, well, all I need is a box of blades. Well, you got to go sign this 10 pack of blades out now. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
I don't
gotta
have
create
time for this.
a PO for that. It's like I remember I was like, I need this much glue, guys. This much glue.
Yeah, I
10
think
cents.
you have those legacy things where, at least in some of the bigger business, where people acquire. There's always different reasons why people get acquired, So some of it is uh, a branding move. They want to buy up their competition. That brand is kicking their rear end, and you'll see companies buy that up. Sometimes with private equity, I think the reason it feels so dirty, no offense to any private equity people out there, is because it's almost like they don't even research to see if it's a good match from a mission, vision, values thing.
Mhm.
It's just, do they make money? Oh, they make a lot of money. Let's buy them. It's I'm not saying it's that easy, but that's more of the way they look at it. They looking at numbers. It's all about the numbers, and then the team. Um, those acquisitions that are made where people are buying a family-owned business because that family-owned business is kicking their butt in, like Tommy Boy kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I love
dude.
that movie.
Me too.
but they're buying them because they're good, because they have this great culture and whatever. Um, Usually the employees are a little bit happier on the other side of that acquisition because they're buying it for the right reasons. Um, Whereas if it's just for
I
money, I
I
think
think
that's where.
if you look at it in terms of software, like Apple,
Mhm.
that's what Microsoft does. The companies then are like, oh, if I buy that company, I can.
He's breaking up really bad, but I think you're breaking up, Daniel. But I think the bottom line, what he was saying was that when Apple or Microsoft buys another software company, they're buying a lot of times. They're buying because that company was more innovative and came up with something new. Like, when Facebook bought Instagram, that was not because Facebook, and they never changed Instagram's brand either, right? But
Right.
they bought them because Instagram was starting to kick that ass. Excuse my French.
No, that's okay. I had some French earlier. It was all right.
So yeah, there's a lot of different reasons to rebrand. From this podcast, it's like, really do the research to decide whether or not it's time for a rebrand if you already have one. And if you're gonna do it like Jorge's doing it. Take your time and think about it and really consider your best, you know, that it means something to you. Don't just scribble a couple of initials on a piece of napkin and hand it to to your Office Max and say, put this on a letterhead for me, because that's what I did. So, you know,
I
have
think
some intention behind it. And then
there you go.
if you really want to do it right, start with your mission, vision, and values, and then see what you come up with for your brand, for your logo in particular, and your tagline. You know,
Yep.
ours has always been a floor above the competition, and that was our tagline. That was from way back in the day. I just have never changed it, even when we rebranded.
Because some things
So
just
you
feel
don't have to
right.
change everything, you know.
Like ours is setting the standard one installation at a time, and that was what we were trying to do. We were trying to do it for us, right? And that was part of our initial creating a brand. Was we weren't just trying to set the standard. We weren't intentionally setting the standard for anybody else. We wanted to do it for us, but it resonated with both us and everyone else.
I do gotta say that you guys are really a good example of having full force behind your brand. Like, you believe in it. You can see it in your marketing. You can see it on your social media stuff. You believe in it. You feel preferred flooring. You know, you kind of bleed it, and
Yeah,
that's also that's uh, admirable and very effective in building that brand too. Is when you once you come up with it, if you bleed for it and your stuff comes across like we are the best. You guys have a premium brand feel when people see it because of not only the logo but who you guys are and how you present yourself in social media. So you guys see if I can add him back in here.
there you go.
Uh, but you guys have done a really good job of like believing in it so much. So that's probably another tip to anyone is if you when you go to build your brand, make sure it's something that you're gonna really be able to stand behind
There
and
you
be
go.
proud of. You know what I mean? Be happy with and proud of. I was not that way again. I know I'm being somewhat self-deprecating on my first logo, but if you've seen it, you'd understand. Um, it was there was nothing to believe in, and that's one of the reasons we went through a rebrand. There was nothing to believe in or anything like that. It was just something I scribbled down. This here, I can believe for this. I believe in it, you know, and so I can represent it well. I can be proud when I say it. You guys bring that to social media so well that it's that's another probably tidbit for you guys out there looking to brand something. Preferred does it right.
We've been we get lucky sometimes.
Well, you know the saying, right? You'd rather be lucky than skilled sometimes, right? Isn't
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Rather be lucky than good. Yeah.
I'd rather be lucky and Daniel get to stay on the podcast here than be skilled enough to keep him on.
He's probably like
'Cause-
right downtown Grand Rapids where, it's supposed to have the strongest signal. 5G. 5G. Yeah, right. Um, you're right
well,
though.
this
If
is
if if you don't believe in it and you expect other people to believe in it, that's gonna be hard. Then you have to sell your brand instead of let it build itself up organically. You shouldn't have to sell a brand.
or you just don't even know it. You know, I
Yeah,
mean,
that too.
to be 100% honest, man, I was 22 when I first started the company. I didn't know that mattered at all. I was just like, we need a name and a logo. Well,
You
you're
know,
right. Your brother is downtown Grand Rapids,
yeah,
but we need a name and a logo. And I thought that was the brand. And like all this other stuff we've discussed on here is like, who cares? Actually, not even who cares. It didn't even occur to me. I was that I was that uh, uneducated on this stuff that I just didn't even think it mattered whatsoever. Just put a name and a thing and a boom and a bang, and that's it. I just needed something to put on the top of an invoice, buddy. You know,
that just
that's
needs
what
some for
I
a
that
letterhead.
yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought a brand was.
My
But
next logo is just gonna be my thumbprint.
yeah. So, well, congrats, Jorge, or kudos or whatever for like kind of going through that process, and it's going to be exciting to kind of see how you are, how this matures, and I can't wait to see the final results of your logo and maybe a tagline or a mission statement. You brought it up, so.
Yep. Thanks. Yeah.
Uh,
Now I'm thinking about it. I am gonna use that dog peeing on a carpet rug.
After all this conversation, I really think that the dog peeing on the rug.
I'm like,
I think that's the
stream better be bright yellow.
Was it a duck hunt? Remember duck hunt when you missed the ducks and the dog like would laugh?
Yeah. That's a good idea.
Like,
There
damn,
you
write
go.
it down.
For all these kids, right? They like all that stuff.
So how does that
all
how
the
does
kids
that apply
did
to Daniel's comment, since he can't? He says when you're rebranding, I talk about him a lot. He's talking about Simon Sinek. Start with the why. He says people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So dog peeing
Boom
on the carpet, I fix your stuff. I'm like disaster restoration. When your dog causes disaster, I'm your guy.
Yep.
I got my son looking at me.
Chewed up
Son's
corners.
looking at me from around the corner.
I always like when he brings up Simon Sinek. He's got a lot of, he wrote, his whole book was start with the why, and that kind of stuff. And so that's what the mission, vision, and values are. All that is all the same stuff. So I hope you guys got I hope our audience got some tidbits, some nuggets from these dudes that might help you kind of understand if you're in the position where you are ready to brand, ready to create a brand. I would say even if you're a single installer, you are the brand. So like own that, go buy yourname.com and keep it.
Yes.
And at least start a personal blog about yourself and why you do what you do. And that by itself could help you win projects. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. That was the main thing that stopped me for a while, because some of the names that I was looking for websites weren't available. So I finally got around to getting one that is available, and I purchased the site, and I was like,
and then,
cool.
and then other variations of it too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So hopefully everybody got at least a couple nuggets from whether it's time to rebrand or whether it's time to start a brand. Again, like I said, you are the brand. Whether you are deciding to kind of materialize that into a logo and a mission statement and all of that stuff. Hopefully we gave you a little bit of something to chew on. Again, I want to thank Divergent Adhesives for sponsoring this episode, and Sonny and all he does for the industry. I really admire that guy and appreciate him a lot. So thank you to everyone. The Divergent right there. If you are catching us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Give us a subscription. The more subscriptions we have, the better we do in the algorithm and all that good jazz. So it's really important that you guys, if you like any of this content, that you engage with us on our social platforms as well as YouTube. So with that, any final words from the two experts on the panel here?
I don't know about experts.
Just go with it.
Like it.
I just say just go with it. Like if you're feeling it, go with it, and just get the motions and start the process, because it's time consuming if you're gonna want to do it right. So
get started.
Just try to go with it.
Just get started.
Yeah.
Believe in what you're doing and make sure that it's authentic. You don't want to have to sell your brand. You don't want to have to create something that is false.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that part.
Many small time make big time, Daniel. Daniel says. Daniel-san.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. We'll catch you guys next week.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good one, guys.